Deeply embedded in English history, tweed is a fabric made from woolen rather than worsted wool, coarse and made to withstand the elements. But what exactly is tweed? How do we get tweed? Does it come from a specific place? From a specific type of sheep? And why exactly is it so good for the colder months? Well, stick around and let's find out how exactly do we get tweed and most of other fabrics as well. The original name for the cloth was twill, Scottish for twill, and this comes from the material being woven in a twilled fashion instead of a plain weave. Around 1831, a London merchant named James Locke received a letter from a Hawick firm, W.M. Watson's and Son, Dangerfield Mills, about some twills. Locke misreads the letter, assuming they must be referring to a trade name inspired from the river Tweed. Making a long story short, the name prevailed. Tweed can be classified in three distinct groups: from the sheep it came from, the place it came from, and from its utility or purpose. Let's begin with the sheep. We have the Shetland sheep and the Cheviot sheep. Shetland tweed comes from the sheep raised in the very same island, the Shetland Islands. The wool come from these sheep are exceptionally fine and soft, in comparison to the Cheviot tweed. Cheviot tweed's name comes from the Cheviot sheep. It's a particular type of sheep that has a particular white face. This yarn is larger, rougher, and more coarse to the touch. Therefore, it's tightly woven, and in most cases it's amazing for cold weather and rural places where you know you will be withstanding harsh climate. Moving on to geographical location, we get the Donegal tweed. The name derives from the Irish county of Donegal. The fabric is coarse, and the result gives us this flary country look. The most interesting fact about this, though, is that Donegal tweed comes with these little stubs and nips that are from varying colors, like red, blue, green, yellow, so this gives us a very fun and nonchalant look. Then we have Saxony tweed, originated in Saxon, Germany. This time, it's made from merino wool, which makes it exceptionally soft and light to the touch, making an amazing option for, let's say, a sports jacket. The most recognized one, and perhaps the most widely spread one, is Harris tweed. When you think of tweed, you might usually go directly to Harris tweed. The name comes from the islands of Lewis and Harris in Scotland. To regulate and protect the fabric against imitation, this is a protected name. It's more like a brand, and it's protected by the whole world. From the whole world, very said. And it reads as follows. Harris Tweed's ORB certification marks was created in 1909, with the definition only tweeds woven in the outer Hebrides will be eligible. The use of the name is protected, and only hand-spun and hand-woven products from 100% wool from the Outer Hebrides was allowed as a Harris Tweed trademark. Despite this, nowadays, 100% virgin wool from the rest of the UK is perfectly acceptable, and all clothes made from Harris Tweed will have a very unique label sewn onto them. Finally, we can also categorize tweed by its utility. Let's begin with gamekeeper tweed. Gamekeeper tweed is perhaps the heaviest of all the other tweeds, around 700 grams if I'm not mistaken. So amazing insulation, amazing warmth for the most unforgiving weathers. And other noticeable mention is thorn-proof tweed. Thorn-proof tweed is woven in high twist fibers to make the cloth resistant to tear and thorns. It's amazing when you know you're going to have an activity that's physical demanding, let's say for example hunting, and you have to move through brambles and bushes and whatnot. The most interesting part about thorn-proof tweed is that it's self-regenerative, which means that if you puncture the cloth, and of course you have a hole in it, rub your fingers through it. You'll notice that the hole quickly disappears and it's like nothing happens. That's a very fun trick to know. As I said in the beginning of the video, we will be taking a look at how exactly tweed is made. Not only tweed, pretty much all of the fabrics we know are made in this fashion. and it's important to recognize them so we don't get fooled when we try to make a knowledgeable purchase of fabrics. So let's take a look at wool processing, when we get the fleece from the sheep, and how do we get all the way to those beautiful fabrics we all cherish and love. We have the fleece from the sheep that goes through the woolen processing or the worsted processing. All of them go through the scouring processing. What's scouring, you might ask? Let's say it's just a bath. Imagine what would your hair look like if you didn't wash it for a year. Well, the poor sheep has to live with that. So once we remove the fleece, we scour it in hot water and some mild or very soft detergents. Carding is the process, and all the fleece now will be uniformed in very small threads. Now we can also have the gilling and combing, but that's not necessary for tweed. We have the spinning and twisting. It's because when we stretch out the fabrics, they don't have particular strength on their own. So by spinning and twisting them, we match them with each other and they become resistant and be able to reach their final step. So we arrive at fabric formation, and it could go either way. We can make carpets, we can make knitwear, or woven apparel, carpets and double upholstery. You see that the woolen process just goes to scouring, carding, spinning, and fabric formation, while the worsted process is very more refined and it's more meticulous. As is the case with many other different fabrics, we have a great amount of patterns that tweed can accommodate itself to. Today we'll just take a look at some of the most well-known types of patterns, but if you're interested in looking more in depth of the type of weaves, the type of patterns, please leave a comment down below. It's always important to have a known decision, an informed decision, while invested in classical menswear. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have found any value in this video. So let's take a look at these fabrics, or better said, a pattern. We have plain twill, very simple, and the diagonal pattern running through it. Overcheck twill, a plain twill that has a large check of maybe a different color running through it. Herringbone is named because it looks like fish bones. It's like its characteristic V-shape. We have overcheck herringbones, the same as the previously mentioned, but this time you also have an overcheck addition to it. Barleycorn is a tweed that's very coarse, and you can see it, it's obvious it has great texture to it. So it's have a lively pattern, of a stylistic statement if you may. Strip types of tweed, of course it's self-explanatory, right? We see the strips running down vertically. And houndstooth, the pattern resembles the back teeth of a dog, which was found to be very effective for camouflage purposes. Tweed is a truly wonderful option for all of those people who are trying to get a piece of clothing that definitely shelters from the elements and the cold weather. You cannot go wrong with tweed, and it's amazing for the colder months today. Autumn is here, and winter might be just around the corner. So if you're going to invest in something, could be tweed. And if you don't feel like tweed, maybe wool. I'm very interested in running a series about fabrics, so you can get the best decision in where to put your money. So leave me a comment down below if you think that would be a good idea. I'm Mr. Panache, your guide in classical menswear, and savoir faire. We'll be seeing each other soon.